Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to teach you how to do the tuck handstand and why the tuck handstand is the easiest variation of a handstand you can learn. Now the handstand, of course, the straight handstand is a beautiful position and it requires the most stability out of all of the handstand skills, such as the straddle or the tuck. The reason why this is because when your legs are completely straight, you have to use your core and your legs to balance yourself from falling over. When you're in a straddle position, the straddle position allows your weight to be distributed over each side of your body like a pendulum, and therefore there is more space and room to move and be more comfortable because of this weight differential. Whereas in a tuck position as well, you're in the same position or line as the straight handstand, but the legs are not extended. The reason why the tuck handstand is the easiest variation of the three handstands, in my opinion, is the tuck handstand doesn't require any sort of core activation in the same way. Although it does require a bit more shoulder strength, it's actually easier to hold once you get the position. And that's because there's no legs dangling around with you having to worry about. So I recommend that learning the tuck handstand is one of the basic skills that any hand balancer or wannabe hand balancer should be starting off with. So I'm going to teach you the basics of the tuck handstand, some ways to get into it, and hopefully after this video it's going to give you a better insight of how to do a tuck handstand. Firstly, with the handstand, of course I'm going to make an assumption that you have warmed up your wrists. So the tuck handstand has obviously the main component. There are different types of tuck handstands, okay? So the tuck handstand can be in a further extension here, or it can be closer and closer and closer, really depending on your thoracic mobility. Now, at the start, it doesn't really matter which tuck handstand you're going for. Whatever tuck handstand that you're capable of doing is a tuck handstand. So don't worry about getting into the other positions as of yet. The focus is the kick up, because the kick up is the hardest thing in a tuck handstand. It's really easy to go into a normal handstand and a kick up because you're able to use one leg to kick up into the handstand. In a tuck handstand, we don't really have that ability to use our legs as momentum to get up. So we either have to tuck and push and really push with our feet, or we have to enter in a pressing position, or we can use one foot at a time to kind of hover. So the easiest position to learn from here is the jump. Now the jump, I recommend doing on a wall first, and this is going to get you a nice kind of understanding of where and how far you actually have to kick up, okay? Because this is quite confusing. Instead of kicking up in a straight line, we're trying to kick up in a crescent position. So rather than kicking up in this position, we're never going to get up. We're trying to kick up so that our hips end up over here. And the reason for this is in a tuck handstand, what you'll recognize is because of the leg position, the hips actually have to be further back over the body. And this is so they can be aligned with your center of gravity in the right position so that you can actually hold the handstand. I'll show you as an example again. In the tuck handstand, the hips have to be slightly over the body so that the center of gravity is in the correct position to hold the handstand. Okay? So, the question is, how do we get there? If it helps, you can also use something underneath you, which is going to give you a little bit of elevation so that you can kick up less. This is going to help you get to the tuck handstand. The other method of getting to the tuck handstand is through a single leg kick up-ish, okay? And I say ish because it's not really a kick up, but what it is it's more of a hover. So I'm going to show you. So as we come over, we can bend our leg and see this leg is going to kick up. So we can hold the tuck. And you can practice both legs. Yeah, like that. Now, the hard thing about this way of kicking up, is that you need a certain level of control, and you obviously need to feel like you can kick up. Now, the single leg kick up is easier to understand where the position is because it's easier to not overkick. When you're doing a double kick up, it's easy to underkick and it's easy to overkick because you're trying to work out the kind of power that you need. Whereas when you're using a single leg, you're kind of trying to work it out on a lighter basis because of that single leg kick up is not going to provide as much power. Although this is the case, it's harder to get into this position because of mobility, and also it's going to be using more shoulder strength because of the potential lack of mobility. So it's really important to understand that and feel what one feels more right for you. Some things work better for others, so feel it out and go from there. The third way of getting into a tuck handstand is a press to handstand. A press to handstand is a more advanced handstand technique and will be able to be achieved with a certain amount of mobility and shoulder strength. For a tuck, it's going to require more shoulder strength than the mobility aspect, but everyone is different. So yeah, firstly, you need to go through the right training protocols to achieve the press to handstand, but I want to show you what you can do to achieve this skill regardless. With a press to handstand, we're leaning on a tuck over the hands, and we're going to raise both feet, and then we can press into the tuck and back down. Now, by using an elevated surface, we can make all the kick-ups for the handstand and the tuck handstand a lot easier. And the reason why is because now we've reduced the amount of distance we need to kick up into the handstand. We can kind of almost hover into it like a press to handstand. So this is a really, really good way to do that. And I'm going to show you that for all three methods right now. And as you do this, you can work your way down to lower levels until you can do it from the ground. So this is a great starting point, but just remember that when you do it this way, that this is going to put more pressure on your shoulders. So just be aware of that. You need a certain level of shoulder strength before doing this. I recommend being able to do at least 10 to 20 dips, body weight dips, before you even attempt these kinds of skills. So firstly, putting our hands on the ground, and what we can do from here, getting into that tuck, is it becomes very easy to just jump into that position. And it's even for me, it's so easy that it's very easy to overshoot because there's so little distance, there's hardly any kick up required, okay? So more so with this one, this is a better exercise, say for me or for someone who is learning this and who's already has the power to kick up in a double kick. They're trying to learn the single kick up even. They can kind of come here and practice just hovering with one leg, yeah? Really, really simple. And again, this is a great height for learning the press to handstand, whether it be the press to handstand in a tuck, or then progressing onto a press to handstand in a straddle, or even, that was not good form, but the pike, okay? So we can use an elevated surface for everything in our handstand rule book that we need. So don't neglect this, guys, and do an incorporation of both the floor and elevated surfaces, and you will obtain all the handstand skills that you are trying to work towards. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Stay tuned, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.